Everyone wants to create a life that they don't need a break from. So we go out and we try. We research for hours on end about whatever the next fitness routine we're going to do is or business model that we think will get us to the goal that's going to change our lives. And the problem is, many of us, including myself, are massive overthinkers, analyzing every detail so we know that we made the right decision. And it isn't your fault, at least until now that you're aware of it, because most of us aren't even aware that we were programmed to be this way. School teaches us logic, and logic is a great thing. It helps us make sense of the world and understand things in terms of cause and effect, which is a law that governs the entire universe. And it's also part of the reason that we evolved to be the dominant species on Earth. However, the problem with how school teaches us things is they don't teach us freedom of process to find our own way. Everything has to be done in an exact way. In math class, we had to show our work even if we already knew the answer without doing it and got it right, or if we had a calculator to give us the answer, which I guess it may be useful to show your work, but come on, if we know the answer, we know the answer. And we would get points deducted if we didn't do it the exact way the teachers told us we had to do it. And the modern school system teaches you that you have to do things this way and there are no other ways. And this was great during the industrial age when working in factories was essentially the staple of moving society along. But the problem is we aren't allowed to explore things and figure things out on our own and try new methods that may work for our own unique mind. Don't go out of your way to break the rules, but break the rules that get in your way. For years, I've had this dream of not having to work for someone else, having my own way of making income through something that I actually somewhat enjoyed doing. I enjoyed coaching people in the gym whenever I first got out of college, but based on life circumstances like student loans, car payments, not coming from a family that had a lot of money, I had to get a corporate job because at the time I didn't have the knowledge or the money just to make personal training work because high interest student loan companies were breathing down my neck. So every time I would start a side hustle that was pitched as being the best business model of the year, I would try it, overanalyze every little detail of the step-by-step or whatever course I had bought, and I would get overwhelmed by it and then ultimately end up quitting. And it wasn't until I started consistently making these videos on YouTube that I just had this weird epiphany. The problem wasn't that I didn't have the drive or the willpower or the want to. It was due to my limited mind because I thought I had to do things in the exact order I was given from these courses and how-to videos because that's what we've been taught our whole life. And this is where I think most people get stuck. For these videos now, I decided to get off of social media, stop looking up how to do X or how to do this, and started just applying as much stuff that I've learned over the last few years. And at least now I can actually see I'm making progress. I had to break the rules of what I thought was the next logical step in the process and just do something that I wanted to do for the sake of doing it and figuring it out along the way. And as I've been doing these videos, I came to realize the best way to truly learn something and do stuff about it is to just do a lot of different stuff in a random order, and then you can iterate and fix it along the way. Because there's a big difference between learning something and understanding something. And understanding something only comes through actually doing the thing and having real experience in doing the thing. And this is the exact thing that I did whenever it came to my fitness. So I've been lifting in the gym since I was about 12 years old, just because I was an athlete whenever I was young. But through junior high and high school, I really started to kind of get more curious about the gym, what's going to work, what's not, whatever. And I remember specifically there was one time I was doing single arm bent over rows, and it was the first time I had ever felt the pump. And at this point, I was kind of more or less hooked. And then we fast forward a little bit going to college. Whenever I had more free time, I could just go to the gym and mess around and do whatever. And of course, I did everything super messy. I started on bodybuilding.com. I do one of those programs for a month, maybe, if that, and I would just hop from one to another. And of course, it was not optimal to do it this way by any means. But what I did learn was what exercises fit where in a program. What do certain exercises do? Which ones suck? How do I push myself to get to a pretty close to failure to elicit more muscle growth? And over this whole, we could just say decade of doing that, I've gotten to where like I kind of understood everything, at least on an intuitive level, so that whenever I went to do the actual research on what I need to do to get better, everything else clicked and made sense. And all of a sudden, it became from paralysis by analysis to, oh, I see this thing. Now I'm going to go directly apply it and see how it works for me. And so I think this is how you have to really do any sort of endeavor that you want to. If you want to start a business, just start doing a bunch of stuff. It's probably going to be wrong and it's probably going to suck. And hell, for me and YouTube, my videos probably still sometimes suck. And that's okay because I'm figuring it out as I go. But I think what most people need to understand is not everything is as bad as you think it is. And if it is really bad, the good news is not many people are really going to see it. And the only people that are going to talk shit on you are people that are lower than you anyway. People ahead of you and above you don't have time to talk shit on people below them if they are truly ahead of you. So just take those things with a grain of salt. So now, how do we do this? What do we do? What can you do with whatever thing that you're trying to do? For sake of ease, we will just use fitness as the thing. So first, think about your goal. If you are a skinny guy or you're trying to gain muscle, you want to get bigger, think about what body weight you want to go to. And then you're going to write down most of the stuff that you already intuitively know from researching. Just write down the things that you know that you have heard. This works, this works, this works. Write it on a piece of paper and have it there. And then this is what's going to be known as your playbook. So if, any step-by-steps, tutorials, courses, whatever you bought, just put them in one place and organize them in a way that makes sense to you. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to take your first step and you are going to do whatever the main thing is first. If the main thing is just go to the gym, then you're going to start and you're just going to go to the gym for like 2 weeks. That's it. You're not even going to worry about what your program is. You're just going to get into the thing. If you're already experienced in the gym, then you are maybe you don't have a structured program or routine. You are going to take that routine and you are going to start applying it and you are going to do it for a week to 2 weeks just to start to get in the groove. Now, after some time, usually for fitness, after about 2 weeks of doing that thing, then you can go one step deeper. What is one thing that you can add on top of it to improve it? So if you're going to the gym and let's say it's been 2 weeks and you're wanting a bigger chest, okay? So you've been doing incline dumbbell press. Well, now for this next week, let's focus on your technique. Let's go to YouTube. Let's look up incline dumbbell press technique for better pecs or whatever. And then you're going to apply that in the gym for the next, 5 times that you train chest. And you're going to do this for every muscle group that maybe you want to. And so your goal is to literally just keep stacking one thing on top of another. And eventually what you're going to run into, you're going to have to notice you'll need your nutrition to be dialed in. So then we start looking up, okay, I have never counted calories at all. So to start for this first week, we are going to just count all of our calories and we're not going to worry about what we're hitting. We're just going to start logging it. And then from there, you can add in tracking protein. And then from there, you can add in tracking your macronutrients. And it just goes a layer deeper each time. Now, for instance, with YouTube, I was worrying about thumbnails, titles, how to do videos, et cetera, et cetera. And what I noticed is whenever I got on here and just kind of started doing shit, then it made more sense as to when to optimize a thumbnail or how to structure a video. And I'm still not that great at it, but every single time I do it, there is something that might be a little bit better than the last one, whether that's camera presence, whether that's how I structure my points, whatever it is. So the goal is to just take one thing, do it for a week, then add something else. And this is just going to get a snowball effect going to where eventually you're going to see some results, which is what is ultimately going to encourage you to continue to go. And then you can go right off into the sunset. But this is a very useful framework and a very useful thing that you can start doing with literally anything at all. But just take massive action because the path opens up for you along the way. So if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, leave a comment I guess. And then you can contact me. All that info is below. But until next time, peace.